Wow, wow, wow. Yo, this David D4VD, whatever his name is, and Celeste missing, the whatever, not missing, outright Pete girl situation keeps getting more and more interesting. At first everybody thought, it was, everybody was for sure, okay, it couldn't be him, right? Then maybe, it got to be him. Nah, it's him. It's him. Now it's like, who knew? Who was part of it? Did the parents know? A lot of things are not adding up, and now there's more information or more recent stuff. So let's check it out. Why don't we? And then go from there.
It ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, it's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
Were David's parents victims of a swatting incident as police investigate the discovery of a dead body in a car registered to the singer's name? Is he being targeted? Is he being framed? We have the body cam that we're going to get into. Plus, this young dead girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, her apparent ex-boyfriend is speaking out. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Such a strange update in the David story. We have been covering every aspect of this investigation of the body of teenager Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who was found dead in a car that was registered to singer David out in Hollywood. This happened at the beginning of last month. There have been no arrests. There have been no identified persons of interest, no suspects, no confirmed relationship or connection between David and Celeste, who, by the way, when her body was found, it was one day after she had turned 15 years old. But now we have something new. Now we have this new video, and it is so weird. Not even sure if it's connected or ties into this case per se, maybe, but we're gonna discuss it. So TMZ obtained police body cam footage, and this is from days after Celeste's body was found in that 2023 Tesla. And police show up to David's Hempstead, Texas family home. So we're talking September 18th, after Celeste was ID'd. And the Texas officers, they respond to this home, guns drawn, and they respond to a report of gunfire.
I'll go out wide and keep you covered. You want to tap the door? Wait for me. I'm going to keep you covered. Go ahead.
Gunfire is crazy. Gunfire?
I got you covered. Come right here. There's too many windows. Here, knock on the door. Dude, we got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. What? Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? No. That's it.
That's it. That's what
We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed.
What?
I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir. No, sir.
What?
So officers have guns drawn. They're ready, thinking someone might be dead. And there is just seemingly a lot of confusion by David's parents. They don't appear to have any idea what's going on. They close the door. So let's see what happens next.
Ma'am, we got to figure out what's going on so we can leave, okay?
Very advised. We made contact. They said nothing happened here. She shut the door. Now she's calling 911.
That's clear. We haven't received a call.
I believe she's going to be in the process.
Go ahead, give him a call if you want to verify it. Okay.
All right, she's calling you now. There's more that went on.
Can you repeat, sir? Broken traffic.
Oh, that's not normal activity. If you were at the wrong address, they'd be concerned about somebody else. Like really? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe they'd be trying to help.
That's the police is raising a flag on his own right there. He's like, they ain't even acting normal, and this is like, you know what I mean?
Sorry to bother you, but somebody called and said there was something. I mean, there was a person that where they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead.
That's what we have. I mean, we take caution. You know what I mean?
Somebody called that someone's dead.
This house is way off the roadway.
So you just opened the gate and came in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it back. I have a gate just like it.
I think it's part of my country.
Yeah, when it's something like this, when they say somebody's dead, their life matters more than, you know what I mean?
Right here.
I didn't damage your gate. I just opened it.
And that is when there is a realization. Did someone just prank them? Are they the victims now of swatting?
It ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, it's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
But whoever it would ping here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What?
So like whenever you call 911, wherever you are, it sends like a ping to let. That's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was. 70 to engine 42.
So it says somebody on my property?
Could be. We'll check the property for you.
Yes, please.
So we'll ride around. If you can give me a layout, how's the property? Like, does it go further back?
No, it doesn't go any further back. It's right here, and then it goes right
The
here.
fence, there's a gate here, and the fence around. This is a private fence.
Well, him and I will ride around and check, and then we'll leave. You know?
Yeah, okay, so that was a false alarm. See, I don't like this kind of thing, because if I really do have an emergency, then,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't know that. Is the mom black? I thought the girl was Latina, or because she is given black. I don't know. I might be wrong. No offense.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Wait, oh no, this is David's house. I'm tripping. This is David's house. Not Celeste's house. This is David's house. Okay. And then someone pranked.
So you know we're going to be here.
Okay.
We're going to get here.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Y'all have a good night.
Someone is messing with us. Yeah, it's pretty scary. And you can see David's mom wondering whether someone is still on the property. By the way, if you're a fan of Sidebar, if you're a fan of what we do here at Long Crime, you might be wondering, how are we able to get so many clips out there to all of our followers? Well, I'll tell you what. This is a little secret. If you're in this game, if you're in the content creation game, if you're interested in putting stuff out on social media, we use a platform called Opus Clip. It's an all-in-one AI editor that makes it easier and faster to cut, create, and upload videos across all social media platforms. Through the power of AI, tons of perfectly edited clips. And if you're wondering how good grow your audience, so when this was going on, so give it a try for yourself. Go to opus.pro/sidebar to start creating your own videos today. Now, it's not clear if David was in the home when this was going on. According to TMZ, the police report indicated that officers spent another 20 minutes on the property, possibly to see if anyone was there. It appears this could have been an instance of swatting. We don't see any kind of confirmed continuing investigation into this or whether or not there's been any arrests. Is this connected to anything regarding Celeste? And I will tell you one thing I wonder. There is a theory that David was framed, right? A body was found in his car in a public place. Does this connect to that? Is he being targeted in some way? I might be speculating, but I want to discuss it. So let me bring in Colin L.
Before they discuss it, let's discuss it. So, okay. See, I've been looking at this situation, right? Hold on, let me switch the cameras. So this David situation, you know what I mean, I've kind of been looking at it, you know, just observing, you know, of course, RIP to the girl, but just observing all the things that have been coming out. You know, I covered it when it first, I covered it, when it first came out, or when it was kind of going crazy at first before all these recent findings. But since then, I've just been stepping back and watching, you know, just seeing the recent developments, and a lot of things have developed, you know what I mean? And if I start scrolling through, it's a lot, it's too much. But with all these recent developments, you know, what the thing got me just thinking is like, as bro was just saying, what if bro is being framed? But then again, it's like, how could he be framed? But it's possible that he could be framed because it's too on the nose, right? I mean, then again, it's possible as well that, you know, because it reminds me of like this thing reminds me of all those CSI movies, you know, or CSI shows and stuff like that, where, you know, I don't know if anybody watches stuff like that, but me being a filmmaker and stuff like that, I enjoy, you know, and you just, you know, you see all the things that, you know, it looks like, you know, it's about to be this person, and then you find out there's the person connected to them that knew what was going on and all that. So for me, I feel like there's a possibility there, right? Is it likely? Most likely not, but it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like they were saying the manager could be the one involved. It's possible because it's too on the nose, right? And oh boy doesn't seem to be phased, at least from what we're seeing. He seemed, you know, he's still on social media or whatever it is. He's still gaming and you know, and then finding out information from the family is not necessarily consistent. They say they didn't see the kid at this time, and then the videos are coming up, you know, and all that. So it's like, could it be that, and then, you know, it's just, I don't know, you know what I mean? Could it be that something happened that we don't know? I don't know, right? Because another thing is like they say, why have police not arrested dude? Like, yeah, we're not even arrested, help, like question them or anything. It could be because of the influence he has in Hollywood and all that good stuff, because, you know, he was up in the Hollywood Hills. You know, I'm out here in North Hollywood, not in that Hollywood. I'm in North Hollywood. And I can tell you that Hollywood Hills people, those influential people, you know, they got bread, you know what I'm saying? So maybe his manager got bread. He was living large. You know, nobody knew who this guy was till this whole thing, but apparently he was a big guy. How was he a big guy that nobody knew who, you know, he was, you know, at least domestically. Internationally, looked like everybody knew him. His songs were on a lot of movies and shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there could be a lot of things happening, you know what I mean? He could be the puppet, and there's a puppet master. Then again, he could just be a psycho that, psychologically, disturbed individual that he was telling you all through his music. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, there's a lot of possibilities to it. But all that aside, let's get back to this though.
Schmidt, retired FBI agent, president, CEO of Kronos Investigations. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Okay, the timing and the circumstances of this. Weird. No, out of all times for this to happen, as the body's discovered in his car, after she's been identified, for there to be a potential swatting incident where somebody calls 911 with a fake allegation, a fake crime for their property, out of all people, out of all times, it's weird.
Well, it's weird, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me because this case has taken on national significance in terms of people paying attention to it. And there are bad actors that understand how to bring harm to somebody by way of swatting. So somebody called the 911 system down there. They found the address online and...
Look at this man's face. Just look at this guy. Does he look like a psychopath or a murker? Possibly. It's never written on the face. But...
were basically made up a story for the cops to go there. And then they went in, and fortunately the police were very professional, and they were able to immediately understand that it was a swatting incident and it wasn't a legitimate call.
What did you make of the body cam?
Body cam, I think the parents were scared to death. Law enforcement coming to their front door with guns drawn, they had a reasonable reaction that I would even have, even though I've been in law enforcement for 28 years. So that's really what the insidious nature of swatting is. You really put people at danger because those parents, if they had come to the door with a gun or resisted in some way, law enforcement would have had a duty to defend themselves, and it would have been a disaster.
That's a really, really good point. I will call out just the professionalism of the officers during the course of this as they're trying to make sense of what happened. Is it accurate, if I understood correctly, that the only way someone would have been able to make a call and for it to be pinged back to that property, that person who made the call has to be on the property?
No, not necessarily. So what the FBI actually just recently had been started investigating is these VoIP systems where they can basically impersonate an address by way of GPS, and then the 911 system, takes note of that and thinks it's coming from a particular address. But also, we don't have the recording of the 911 call. The call may have come from some other source or some other area, and they just said that this address is a problem, and this address has these things going on there, which prompted the police to respond.
Do you think they'll be able to find out who did this?
Bruh, folks that be swatting, bruh, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. What do y'all find so appealing in just torturing somebody else? God.
Recently, the FBI has gotten very good, especially if they're using internet services by way of VoIP to make these swatting calls. If it was just a local person who called in, most of those 911 systems do have a trap system where they trap the numbers where they call in, so they can immediately identify the number and the caller ID, so to speak. And they have agreements with the telephone systems like Verizon, AT&T, so they can get that information as soon as possible.
Here's my thought on how this possibly is connected, and I'm curious your opinion on it. So I think it is bizarre that Celeste's body was in a car registered to David out on a public street in LA. And the reports indicate that that car was there for weeks, that it got a ticket, that it was towed, that it was impounded. Her body was decomposed. So if we assume her body was in that car for quite some time, we don't know exactly when it was deposited, but assuming it was in that car for as long as that car was parked there, it does make me think, and we've seen theories online about this, is it more likely that someone deliberately, they were purposeful to put that body in there to make sure it was found, to make sure it was connected to David,
There's a possibility.
as opposed to the idea that the body was out there and it was found before the perpetrator had time to dispose of it. Now, if I accept that, if there was this idea to frame David, if he is being targeted, is it possible this alleged swatting call was done with the same intent, the same person?
The person that, whoever the person, if it is somebody else and they framing him, that person has access to his car. And that's the thing, like, you know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. Like, the person who have access to his car, it means it would be somebody that he knows, that they know. And that's kind of like, everyone's kind of like, not that many people knew. Then again, we found out, or, according to what they said, old girl had a fake ID. A lot of people thought she was older than what she was. She's been running away for a while. So it's like, it's a lot to it.
Person. Is there a connection in that way, or am I really reaching here?
It's possible, but not probable. It just appears that somebody was harassing his family by way of this call. Going back to the car, you're spot on. Their car comes back so directly to him. Law enforcement has to take a step back and always ask that compelling question, or the alternative, alternative question is, was he framed? What's going on here? Is somebody really that stupid to take a car registered to them and then kill somebody and put them in there and then leave the car there for multiple weeks? So that's where it leads credence to the framing theory. But the bottom line is the law enforcement is going to gather all the facts. And now, because of the swatting, depending on where the call came from, the FBI will likely start to get involved. And eventually, law enforcement is definitely going to get the answers to all these questions.
Well, let me ask you, do you think law enforcement is looking into this in connection with the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez? In other words, look, we're at the point here on Sidebar where we're trying to analyze any update in this case because we really don't have a ton of information. Other outlets are doing the same, whether it's connected to Celeste or not. Do you think this is a piece of the investigation? Do you think LAPD is looking into this potential swatting incident?
Absolutely. So basically what they're reaching out to that law enforcement agency who's already reached out to the 911 system and their tech people to find out where the call came from. And if it was a VoIP system, they may bring in the FBI to help trace the ping, so to speak, to get to the person who actually did this. And then, of course, once they identify that person, they're going to see if that person has any relationship to the victim and or the person of interest in this case. So, yes, definitely, LAPD is reaching out down there, and they're trying to get all these puzzle pieces and put the picture together.
I'm going to get into a minute. We have a new update regarding Celeste's apparent ex-boyfriend and what he had to say. I'll get to that in a second. I just want to jump on something that I mentioned. I'm not crazy in thinking that there is a possibility that this was deliberate for the body to be found. I mean, the other way of looking at it is, I think when the initial reporting happened, that we thought that car might have been out there only for a few days before it was towed. If it had been out there for weeks, okay, either someone panicked and didn't have enough time to dispose of the body, which again seems strange, or was it supposed to be found? I mean, where do you stand on it?
Before he gives his answer, let's have a little discussion about that, right? Back to, falling on this theory that bruh is, being framed, the possibility that he's being framed. Yeah, the fact that the body was, in the trunk or whatever it is of the car, and the car was just there. Like, nobody really does. I mean, I won't say nobody, but most criminals we heard of doesn't, they don't do that. You know what I mean? They dig up the thing, even if you go, as they say, whatever, it was dismembered or not, they dig up the body, they try to hide the body. Nobody just puts it in a car and just leaves it, you know what I mean? Unless they on their way to go dispose of the body. You feel me? Nobody just leaves, so it's like, it seems, as they say, pretty deliberate. You know what I'm saying? Pretty like, hey, somebody gonna find this eventually, you know what I'm saying? And when they do, hey, cool. But people don't commit crimes thinking that way. Most people don't. But even psychopaths, think about you think about the Jeffrey Dahmers and all that good stuff. He hit after he murked people. He hit. You know what I'm saying? He won't just murking and just keeping it. You know what I'm saying? That's not how they do. They want to keep doing that. They enjoy it. They get a high from that action. They want to keep doing it. They don't want to get caught. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, at least not after just one. At least that's not what we've heard of serial killers or psychos. You know what I'm saying? They, you feel what I'm saying? I know if y'all get what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. That's why we're saying it's possible. You know what I mean? Everybody's pointing hands at David. Yeah, woo, woo. Nobody, perhaps could it be possible that that's how because everybody seems to think it's too on the nose. He did it. Cops ain't arrested, bro, yet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Other than that, or forget even arresting or anything, it's just there are no, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's asking, or maybe it could be something, it could be this. It's only him. That's not usually how things go. It's never just only one theory. And that's why it's like, it's raising flags for people that are like intellectual or whatever it is. Like, yo, this is too on the nose. It's too easy. Like, this is too easy, and it's not a solved case for something that should be so easy that we from the outside looking in, we like, oh, it's, what I mean? But cops that should have all the, a lot more, they still haven't done nothing. So clearly something is going on there. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, bro, something really up. You know what I mean?
Well, it all comes down to context and timing. If somebody put a car on my street and if it's there for 2 or 3 or 4 days and it doesn't fit the the environment, I'm going to call the police. The police are going to do an investigation. They're going to run the plates, and they're going to do everything they did do. Typical LA fashion. The car was there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and so the people there just kept walking by it and ignoring it, and it wasn't dealt with. And I think whoever left it there, it looks to me, normally the car would last a week or two if it's on a residential street before it's going to be dealt with. So it appears to me that the person who left it there didn't think it would stay there for 3, 4, 5 weeks. They thought maybe it'd be a short period of time before it was recovered. Or the alternative theory is they just panicked, left it there, and they walked off. It also, like we talked about before, goes back to that Tesla, basically a rolling supercomputer. Once they fire it up, they're going to get all kinds of data off that computer to find out what happened when the car was turned off the last time.
Shouldn't they have that already, though? Like, you keep talking about this Tesla. Like, bro, shouldn't they have all this information already? Tesla's, this is LA, bro. Like, it's everywhere. I'm pretty sure they got company everywhere, you know what I mean?
Colin, I mean, it's interesting. LAPD Captain Scott Williams said to People magazine, "We don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body." So how do you interpret that? That Celeste Rivas Hernandez died from natural causes, that it was an accident, that I'm not saying this in any way, which way, but in another case that someone had an overdose, someone found her, panicked, tried to dispose of the body. Is that what we're talking about here?
They did find that her body was, they couldn't find any cause of death per se, you know what I'm saying? They put it, what they said, it was deferred or something like that. So if they're not sure, based on the decomposition and some more, that's another thing. It's like, wouldn't it be obvious? But I guess maybe not. They're waiting on toxicology, which is going to take months. I don't know.
Well, somebody that young likely did not die of natural causes unless they had cancer or some other known
For sure,
problem.
not natural.
So the most likely outcome here, or hypothesis, is it was a drug overdose. Once again, I'm not aware of the toxicology report being distributed, or even if they were able to do one, because the body was in such a far state of decomposition. But if they were making a statement like that, it's kind of leading you to believe that they feel that she was dead before she was placed in that car.
Yeah, I think they might be waiting on toxicology results. We know the cause of death, the manner of death.
Drug overdose? What y'all think? Y'all think it's a drug overdose? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I just don't feel, I don't know.
Have not been released. It's been deferred. They're waiting for further examination. Are you confident they will get to the bottom of what caused her death and whether or not it's a homicide or something of that nature?
Absolutely. With this type of media attention, there's lots of resources that be poured into this, because LAPD, they're known for being the best homicide investigators in the world. So there's somewhat of a personal motivation for these detectives to make sure they close this case. So I'm absolutely confident that they'll get to the bottom of this, and we'll be able to know exactly what happened to this poor girl.
Now, I got to get your take on this. So 15-year-old Damian Hernandez spoke exclusively to TMZ and claimed that he dated Celeste in middle school. When she was in the 7th grade, he was in the 8th grade. He claimed she was, quote, looking for something serious, that she was having problems at home, particularly with her mother, who he claimed didn't treat Celeste right, that this made Celeste unhappy, that she wanted to run away. You and I both know, and we reported it extensively here on Sidebar, that Celeste had a reported history of running away. There was surveillance footage that was released from March of 2024 of her walking and then jogging down the street in an apparent runaway incident. That this was captured on a liquor store camera. How does this statement from this apparent ex-boyfriend, how does this help investigators when we're trying to determine what happened to Celeste?
Well, he's part of the timeline, the big picture. You know, they have to talk to him to get context on the victim, to understand if she was leading a high-risk lifestyle, whether it be drug use, prostitution, or involved in criminal activity. So he's helpful in the sense that
this girl right here looks like a chill individual. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't give, you know what I mean? But you never know. That's the thing about faces, don't tell a lot. You know what I mean? But you see her escaping or running out the house, running away, all this good stuff. They talking about her ex-boyfriend. People talking about at this age. But yeah, that's kids, bro. So look, man.
He's going to be able to give them a better picture of her history. It's unfortunate that he's now talking to media outlets about this, because that just puts more pressure on the family of her in terms of you know, airing their so-called dirty laundry, when this should be a private matter.
Well, you couple this with what we talked about on a previous sidebar. There was footage that TMZ obtained that was released that apparently shows Celeste in her neighborhood in Lake Elsinore, which is about.
So this is that when you see her arguing, when, you know, this is, they say one of them times where she had escaped, or she had came back. She presumably had came back, but the parents did not report that she came back. The missing posters were still going around that she was missing. This is their neighborhood. Like, this is actually their apartment complex. You know, this is their neighbors. She arguing and all that
About
good
75, 76 miles away from LA, where she's having this confrontation with people in the neighborhood. This is from September of 2024. So this is months after she disappeared in April of 2024. So seemingly we know she's alive at that point. And I thought that was interesting as we're trying to talk about what the apparent timeline is.
Well, in light of that, and I'm very familiar with Lake Elsinore, that's about 20 minutes from where I live. And so the next step of the puzzle would be LAPD reached out to Riverside Sheriff's Department, the Lake Elsinore station, to find out for calls of service, any issues that occurred around her neighborhood, and any issues in terms of calls of service to where she was purported last seen or last living.
Now, at this point, we don't know where David is. Okay, he's not made a public appearance. He's not issued a public statement. We know his tour was canceled. We know that he moved his stuff out of this rental property that was apparently near where the Tesla was abandoned. However, this is new. Fox 11 Los Angeles has reported that people online claim that the singer has been active on his own subreddit and deleting posts that criticize him in connection with this case. Apparently, the subreddit was later locked down. By the way, someone allegedly claiming to be the moderator of his Discord and Twitch accounts allegedly
You see this is a video with her and all
posted a
that good
message
stuff.
saying they don't know Celeste, nor how old she was, nor that she was missing. What do you make of all that?
Man, look, man. I just wanted to share this little update, you know what I mean? But for me personally, this situation keeps getting crazier and crazier. I don't think we, you know what I mean, we ain't gonna know till we know. It might take months, perhaps a year or so, but for sure, I'm going to keep watching this situation because, you know, this is one of them things that is just interesting in life in general. You know what I'm saying? You know, parents and their kids trying to be, you know what I mean? People blaming the parents like as though you can control your kids. Like, kids are not human beings of their own. You know what I'm saying? If they do anything too extra, it's going to go against the nature or the laws of, you know, America. You can't force your kids to stay somewhere. That's kidnapping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what else could you really do? People keep blaming the parents. It's their fault. They did this, they did that. What do you want them to do? They called the police. They did, you know, I mean, at least so far from what we've seen. So it's like, it seemed like the girl wanted to do what she wanted to do, and it just ended unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to figure out, you know, we're going to keep up with this and see what, you know, what goes on, you know, if David really did it or not, because of course it seems like, you know, he was inspired by it. It seems too on the nose. You know, it seems like a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's a real life, but it seems like a movie. Like, it's like so on the nose. We're waiting for the twist. You feel what I'm saying? Like, those of us that's not just the crowd. We're waiting for the twist. We want to know why, how, what. You know what I mean? It can't just be that on the nose. It could be, though. Who knows? But y'all can let me know what y'all think, man. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace and blessings, man. Out.